and backup players.
They'll test the middle in between the tackles, and they get inside the 40-yard line. John Kelly was the ball carrier. And again, not to belabor it, but Jalen Hurd did not make the trip. Kamara's getting the majority of the action in the backfield.
Yeah, I would figure he'd get about 75% of the plays.
This is Kelly. Well, Hurricane Matthew has moved up the coast. It started in Florida. And the SEC games affected by Matthew, Georgia, South Carolina, and Columbia. That game was postponed until Sunday. LSU at Florida was postponed fairly early this week. And we're going to have Commissioner Greg Sankey on the phone with us to discuss what the status is currently of the LSU-Florida game. Here's Dobbs, too high. I thought it was deflected. Jason Kroom was the intended receiver.
Well, I think he had to go over a pretty tall player there. D.D. Hall, number 10, is about 6'5". He gets up, high school basketball player, and forces the ball to be an overthrow.
Yep. Deshaun Hall, one of the two brilliant defensive ends. It's 4th and 2, and they will go for it, trailing.
Well, now if you're A&M, you must account for the quarterback. Whatever you're doing, you got to know. You don't know what's going to happen, but you have to account for number 11.
Dobbs, forced right. Throws it at the last second, and it's incomplete. Deshaun Hall again. We can see Greg Sankey. Greg, could you just give us at this moment what the status of that game is?
Sure. First, let me send my thoughts and prayers to all the people affected by this storm. It's been a difficult week, obviously, as we celebrate football. The press release we issued on Thursday, Vern, after a long day and a lot of changes in forecast and a lot of movement, was that the LSU-Florida game would be indefinitely postponed. We did acknowledge that we will seek another opportunity to play that game. That's difficult. I said that on a conference call as we are nearing a destination point, but it's important to play that game.
Commissioner, my first question is, do you believe that no matter what, for the integrity of the championship for this league, that game has to be played one way or another?
Well, the game needs to be played, Gary, and we need to work together to find a way to do that. This conference often describes itself as a family. A family has points of tension. I certainly understand the angst and frustration. I have my own level of angst, but we need to come together to play a football game and find the best way to do that.
I think some of the confusion, Mr. Commissioner, is that a game in Florida, in Miami, was played, and a game in our conference was played just north of it. How come, and it seems cooperation was there, how come Florida and LSU, with the commissioner's help, couldn't get this game played this weekend?
Well, each of those is their own unique set of circumstances, and there's a point at which you need to make some decisions. And Thursday afternoon, that storm was strengthening. It was passing north of Miami by projections, yet Gainesville was well inside the hurricane zone. Emergency personnel were being pulled away that could stop that football game. We have to remember that security issues and demands are very different today than they were a year ago. We didn't know how players' families would be impacted. We're starting to see some of those stories. The university closed earlier than thought and remain closed, or will remain closed through the day, Sunday, not until Monday morning, as they continue to evaluate. You had a bunch of evacuees that were moving from the coast into the Gainesville area. A number of those things are different than what we saw in Georgia, South Carolina, where there was bus travel involved. We could secure space for the team to stay without displacing evacuees. Local emergency personnel were still available to staff the game, and we have to understand those differences.
Sure. Mr. Commissioner, what are the options now for you that you're considering to play this LSU-Florida game, and when will that decision be made? Will it hang, or will it be made rather quickly?
We spent Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and crisis management. Yesterday was whiteboard day 1, whiteboard day 2, looking at all the options. There are a number of people who have their own options. We want to make sure we evaluate everything. I would like to move this along as efficiently as possible, Gary, but I'd be careful not to put a point in time where we can provide a definitive answer, because there are a number of issues that have to be considered.
Right.
But my desire is to see us play that game.
Coach, excuse me, Commissioner, you've part of the hallmark of your tenure as commissioner has been an advocate for the safety of the players. If it's moved to the 19th, which has been a rumored date available, that would mean LSU has to play 3 road games, a Thursday night game, and those players are going to play SEC games on the road. I worry about the safety of those players playing those games, 3 games in 12 days.
So I want to be careful because there are a number of options. So it doesn't narrow to just one, and a number of factors to consider, Gary.
Both sides have advocates. Both sides are going to argue. You're going to have Florida making arguments, LSU making arguments. Do you have the final authority to make a decision on this game?
Well, we need to come together, Gary. That's the reality. We need to come together. I am in a position to lead that effort, but we all have responsibility because this affects the entire conference.
Commissioner Greg Sankey, our thanks for clarifying what you could clarify for us relative to the postponement of LSU and Florida. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Gary.
Yep.
And on 1st down and 10, we're back to play. Travion Williams. It's still 21-7. 2nd down coming up.
I would like to have that gap in between those two fan bases. And, it affects everybody else, right?
Sure.
I mean, we talked to both coaches, head coaches of these teams, and they both wanted to see this game played between Florida and LSU.
Travion Williams, and he breaks through for another 1st down.
Yeah,
Colton
I think Knight kept that one. He
did. I'm sorry.
Good ball handler and good fake, and that's actually the job of this Tennessee defense, of being able to handle all the fakes and motions.
3rd down. Third down, 3.
They're back in that bear look. They've covered the guys inside, one-on-one to the outside.
Knight near side. Overthrows Speedy Noyle. It was Derek Barnett with the pressure.
One-on-one with that bear look. But, Vern, you talk about not knowing exactly who has the ball. Well, this is the reason why. Look at all the options. First option, Kirk. Second option, the running back. Third option, the quarterback. He could throw it downfield to the wide receivers, or, look at this, he could flip it back to Kirk. 5 different options the defense has, and Vern Lundquist has to be ready for.
Well, at a certain point, I got to see. You may have noticed it. There's a catch off ball. Another fumble. This time Kamara gets back.
And again, a veteran player, didn't panic, relaxed, bobbled the ball, and jumped right back on it. Josh Reynolds kind of got in his eyesight, but his own 10-yard line, no panic, just make the play.
CBS Sports coverage of the Home Depot SEC will continue after this.
Singing on it better than the right wrist. So he's a pretty tough guy.
Hand off. Now with Kamara. Let's see if Allie can add to that. Allie?
Hey, Vern, Gary, you're right. It is his left wrist. It is bothering him. He has been playing around with it on the sidelines. The medical staff did look at it for about 30 seconds or so. They decided it was nothing serious, but something to look out for sure.
2nd down, 10. No gain on the last play.
Tough old ticks in there.
Yeah.
Right?
Out of San Antonio. Into the flat. Josh Smith.
It's just night and day. Coming up, Justin Evans again, number 14. We were here a couple of years ago when Armani Watts and Justin Evans, young football players, they really had to take Armani Watts out of the game. He had lost confidence not being able to take more tackles. But now you can make the argument that safety group between Wilson, Watts, and Evans, WWE, might be as good as anyone. Flag down on the field. We're discussing something. You always do.
There is a flag.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct number 15 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Oh my goodness.
Miles Garrett's got his hands up on what? Did they mean 15 on the offense? That's Juwan Jim. They got the wrong team. It's the other way. 15 offense.
Conduct number 15 on the offense. Under the pass to distance to the goal. Still second down.
It was so Miles Garrett. If
That is
we
number
got a
15's
shot,
first unsportsmanlike conduct foul.
if we got a shot of Miles Garrett, he puts up his hands and goes, the sheepish look going, I didn't do anything. How could I get a penalty? But they got it corrected.
Indeed. Now hold everything. All right.
Last time during third and long, they went with a screen pass. They do not want to make a mistake down here.
They're down at 14.
Quarterback draw.
Yeah, Joshua Dobbs shakes the tackle, and he can't get. Oh my goodness! Down at the 10. Zay Henderson, number 92.
Well, Tennessee, with the fumble, he's dangerous. Kirk back here. You have to stay an extra second.
Pressure. Kirk, oh, it was. And Kirk says, I'm going to let it pass, which it does.
So you can make an argument that Trevor Daniel, the punter for Tennessee, has been a weapon the last 3 games we've seen him. I was ready. If I had 5 more minutes, I was going to go Perry Mason. I think I had him, but we had to. I thought he beat us. I tell you the truth, I thought he beat us.
Yeah, and I would not disagree with that. Well, it was very controversial. Here's Knight. Trevor Knight out of bounds at.
I thought the key phrase from the commissioner was him acknowledging tension.
Yep.
And then he said, we need to come together. And that means, I think, in Florida and LSU need to kind of set aside their avocation here, think of the conference, and figure this out for everybody.
Here's David Smith.
Send your letters to Frank.
Thank you very much.
Yes, 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
You know, I think as Kevin Sumlin looks out on the field, and all of the nightmares he had this offseason with quarterbacks leaving, assistant coaches getting suspended, his move to bring in Trevor Knight might be the best acquisition the SEC Conference had this year.
And another flag. Well, you think back about how all that evolved. Trevor Knight lost his position to Baker Mayfield, decided to use the exemption and use that graduate transfer rule. Here's Dave Smith once more.
The previous play is under further review. Ruling on the field was the ball crossed the line of scrimmage, therefore there was an ineligible downfield.
All right.